Rain hammered the little house in Oshodi, banging on the tin roof like a wild drummer. Inside, Amaka stood before a cracked mirror, her heart thumping loud and fast. She touched the fresh bruise on her cheek, a dark purple spot left by her husband Chidi's hard hand. Her eyes, once full of big dreams, looked back at her, tired and sad. She pressed a wet cloth to her face and flinched as the cold bit her skin. The house was quiet now, but it felt like a trap, the kind that tricks you before trouble comes rushing back. Down the hall, little Ngozi peeked from her small room. She was 8, tiny for her age, with big eyes that saw too much. "Mama, are you okay?" she whispered, hugging her old doll tight. Amaka smiled, a smile she'd practiced to hide her hurt. "Yes, my sweet girl. Go sleep now. It's late." Ngozi paused, her feet shuffling on the wooden floor, but she nodded and slipped back into the dark. Amaka's heart twisted. Ngozi wasn't tricked. She knew her father's anger and had learned to tiptoe around it, staying quiet when his voice got loud and his hands got mean. The clock ticked past midnight. Chidi would be back soon. He'd stormed out after their fight, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. It started over something silly. Amaka hadn't swept the parlor well enough for him. "This is how you keep my house," he yelled, his breath sour with palm wine. She tried to explain, but his fist hit her face before her words could escape. Now, waiting for him, her stomach twisted. She could hear his boots in her head, a sound that made her jump even when he wasn't near. In the kitchen, Amaka lit the kerosene lamp with a shaky hands. The soft light danced, throwing shadows on the walls. She scrubbed the dinner plates hard, as if she could wash away her fear. Her mind wandered to happier days, 10 years back, when she was Amaka the hairdresser. She had a busy salon in Ikeja, with customers who loved her fast hands and bright laugh. That was where she met Chidi, a tall mechanic with a big smile and sweet promises. He talked of a fine house and happy children, and she fell for him. She believed in his dreams, but that love didn't last. It began with little grumbles. Chidi didn't like her long hours at the salon. "A wife shouldn't work so much," he said, his voice hard. "I'll take care of us." So she sold her salon, put away her scissors, and became the wife he wanted. At first, it felt good. Then Ngozi came, a beautiful baby with her father's eyes. But soon, fights started. Chidi's temper exploded over small things: a burnt stew, a wrinkled shirt. The first slap came 6 years ago, when she talked about working again. "You think I can't provide?" he shouted, hitting her so hard she fell. He stood over her, breathing heavily, while she lay there, shocked. The slaps grew into punches. The sorry words stopped. Amaka shrank, her dreams fading away. The big house never came, just this tiny place with peeling walls and a leaky roof. Chidi's mechanic shop barely earned anything, and he blamed her, as if she pulled him down. Tonight was worse. His eyes were wild, like a dark spirit had grabbed him. She'd seen that look before, and it always ended in pain. A loud bang snapped her back, the door flew open, and Chidi stumbled in, rain dripping from his cap. His shirt stuck to him, and his face was twisted with anger. "Amaka," he barked, kicking off his muddy boots. She froze, the plate slipping into the sink with a clatter. "You're still awake? What are you doing?" His voice was thick, heavy with drink. She turned slow, head down. "Just cleaning," she mumbled. He staggered close, his breath stinking of alcohol. "Cleaning? You think that fixes this bad day?" He grabbed her arm, pulling her hard. She stumbled, catching the counter. "Chidi, please," she whispered, shaking. "Ngozi's asleep." He laughed, a rough, scary sound. "Let her sleep. This is about us." His grip tightened, and she braced for the hit. Then, a small cry cut through the air. Ngozi stood in the hall, her doll hanging from one hand, tears in her eyes. "Daddy, stop," she yelled, her voice sharp and brave. Chidi turned fast, his hold on Amaka slipping. "Go to your room," he shouted, but Ngozi stepped closer, tiny but fearless. "Leave Mama alone." Everything stopped, Chidi's face grew dark, and Amaka's heart froze. She pulled free, grabbed Ngozi, and held her tight. Backing away. "It's okay, baby," she said, her voice wobbly. Chidi glared, his fists ready. For a moment, he looked ready to charge, but then he turned, cursing loud, and stormed out into the rain, slamming the door. Amaka dropped to the floor, hugging Ngozi as the girl cried into her shoulder. Her cheek hurt, Her arm ached, but something new woke inside her, a tiny spark. Ngozi's courage had lit it, a small glow in the dark. She rocked her daughter, saying, we're okay, but her mind raced. How long could they stay like this? How long before Chidi hurt Ngozi too? Outside, the rain hid Chidi's angry words as he vanished into the night. Inside, Amaka's tears mixed with Ngozi's, but deep down, a plan started growing. She didn't know how or when, but she knew they couldn't stay. Not anymore. As the lamp flickered and the clock ticked, Amaka held Ngozi close, her heart growing strong. This wasn't the end, it was the start of something new, something risky, something big. Morning sun peeked through torn curtains, painting golden lines on the wooden floor. Amaka sat at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a chipped mug of cold tea. The bruise on her cheek had turned darker, a loud reminder of Chidi's anger. Ngozi slept upstairs, her soft snores floating down like a gentle song. Amaka hadn't closed her eyes, her head buzzed with thoughts of running away, mixed with fear and hope. Ngozi's brave stand had lit a small fire in her heart, but it wasn't strong enough to show her the way yet. The house was too quiet without Chidi. He hadn't come back after stomping off into the rain, and that scared her more than if he'd returned. Where was he? Drinking at Maman Ketch's bar? Sleeping in a ditch? Or plotting something worse? She shivered, pulling her wrapper close. She knew him. His quiet wasn't peace, it was danger waiting to jump out. Her eyes kept flicking to the door, expecting his fist to crash through. Ngozi's footsteps broke the silence. She shuffled in, her doll under her arm, her face puffy from crying. Mama, is Daddy gone? She asked, climbing onto a stool. Amaka nodded slowly. For now, yes. Ngozi pressed her lips tight, too wise for her age. He'll come back, she said, soft but sure. Amaka's chest hurt. She touched Ngozi's braids. We won't let him hurt us again, she said, her voice stronger than she felt. But how? She had no money. Chidi kept every penny. Her salon days were far away, and her old friends had stopped coming around, tired of her excuses for the marks. Then she thought of her sister, Ifeoma, in Surulere, a busy, safe place with her husband and 3 boys. Ifeoma had begged her to leave Chidi years ago, after seeing a black eye at Christmas. Come to us, she'd said, fierce. He'll kill you one day. Amaka had waved it off, too ashamed. Now, those words felt like a rope to climb out. She stood, legs wobbly but sure, and pulled an old suitcase from under the bed. It was beaten up, patched with tape, but it would work. She packed Ngozi's clothes first, small shirts and skirts folded neat, then her own, a few wrappers, a blouse, slippers. She stopped at an old photo in a drawer. It was a photo of her and Chidi on their wedding day, smiling under a mango tree. Her throat tightened, but she tossed it back. That Chidi was gone, turned into a monster she didn't know. A motorbike roared outside, and she froze. She peeked out, heart pounding. It was just Mr. Tunde, the neighbor, heading to market. She breathed shaky, but the fright pushed her faster. She grabbed some gari and a tin of milk, enough for a day or two. Ngozi watched, eyes wide. Are we running, Mama? She whispered. Amaka knelt, holding her face. We're going somewhere safe, my love. Where Daddy can't find us. Her plan grew. They'd take a danfo bus to the motor park, then another to Surulere. She had 50 naira hidden in a sock, saved from market coins Chidi didn't see. It wasn't much, but it might be enough. The hard part was sneaking out. Chidi's friends were all over Oshodi, nosy men who'd tell him quick if they saw her. If he caught she shook the thought away. The day crawled by, each clock tick a step closer. Amaka kept Ngozi busy with tales of the tricky tortoise and the proud lion, but her own nerves twisted tight. By afternoon, rain started again, a soft drizzle turning the roads muddy. Perfect, fewer people would be out. She put Ngozi in a big raincoat and grabbed the suitcase. We're going now, she said, quiet. Ngozi nodded, holding her doll close. They slipped out the back, rain hiding their steps. The alley was tight, with rusty fences and puddles splashing under their feet. Amaka looked around, watching for faces she knew. They reached the road, where a yellow danfo waited, its driver shouting, Ojalegba, Ojalegba. She rushed Ngozi inside, squeezing into a back seat. The bus jerked forward, and relief washed over her until a shout pierced the air. Amaka. Her blood turned cold. She looked back through the dirty window. Chidi stood in the rain, cap low, eyes burning into the bus. He'd come back too soon. He ran, with his boots splashing mud, yelling her name. The driver honked, passengers grumbled, "Go faster." Amaka begged, voice breaking. The bus swerved, speeding up, but Chidi was near, his hand almost touched the door. Ngozi cried soft, hiding in Amaka's side. "Mema, he's coming." Amaka held her tight, heart racing. The bus hit a bump, jolting hard, and Chidi tripped, falling into the mud. His curses faded as the rain swallowed him. Amaka gasped, hands shaking on Ngozi's back. They'd escaped, for now. But she knew Chidi wouldn't quit. The danfo rumbled to the motor park, Lagos blurring past in wet streets and loud horns. Amaka stared ahead, jaw-tight. Surulere was their hope, but the way there felt dangerous, like walking a thin bridge over fire. Chidi's shadow followed, a hunter after his catch. She hugged Ngozi, whispering, "We're not going back." Never. But a question chewed at her. How far would he chase them into the dark? The bus rattled to Surulere, its engine grumbling like a tired old man. Amaka sat by the window, arm tight around Ngozi, who slept against her, doll slipping from her hands. The rain had stopped, leaving the air heavy and damp. Outside, Lagos hummed with evening life, traders calling, motorbikes dodging cars, the smell of roasted corn mixing with smoke. Amaka watched the road behind, searching for Chidi. Her heart hadn't calmed since they fled, his muddy shape still stuck in her mind like a bad dream. She kept seeing it, his angry eyes, his hand so close to the bus. He'd been drunk, but not too drunk to chase. She knew him, he wouldn't let go of what he called his. Not her, not Ngozi, not their life. A shiver ran through her. She glanced at the passengers. Tired women with bags, a snoring man, a boy tapping his foot to music. They didn't know her trouble. To them, she was just another woman. The bus stopped at the motor park with a loud squeak. Surulere. Last stop, the conductor shouted, banging the side. Amaka woke Ngozi gently. "We're here, my sweet. Let's go." Ngozi rubbed her eyes, blinking at the bright lights. Amaka grabbed the suitcase, her arms sore, and stepped into the noisy crowd. Hawkers rushed them, waving cards and nuts. She pushed past, holding Ngozi's hand, her mind on one thing, Ifeoma's house. Ifeoma lived on a busy street off Adelabu Road, in a yellow two-story house with peeling paint. Amaka hadn't called. She didn't want Chidi finding her number, but she hoped her sister would welcome them. The walk felt long, every shadow making her jump. A bike zoomed by, and she pulled Ngozi close. "Mama, are we safe now?" Ngozi asked, voice tiny. Amaka nodded, forcing a smile. "Almost, baby." At Ifeoma's gate, the familiar metal clang calmed her a bit. She knocked hard, the door opened slow, and Ifeoma stood there tall, wrapper loose, frowning until her eyes widened. "Amaka." "Ngozi." She saw the suitcase, then the bruised Jesus. What happened? Amaka couldn't speak, her throat tight. Ifeoma pulled them in, locking the gate fast. The house smelled of agusi stew and bleach, warm and safe. Ifeoma's 3 boys ran in, shouting and playing, until she snapped, "Upstairs, now." They dashed off, leaving quiet. Ifeoma sat Amaka down, hands gentle but firm. "Tell me," she said, soft. Amaka let it all out, the years of hits, the night Chidi went too far, Ngozi's brave words. Ifeoma's face grew hard. "That beast," she spat, "you're staying here. No arguing." Amaka breathed easier. Ngozi curled on the sofa, sleep pulling her down. Ifeoma's husband, Amaka, came home, a quiet man with kind eyes. He didn't ask much, just nodded when Ifeoma explained, then took the suitcase upstairs. "Your family," he said. Amaka whispered, "Thank you," her voice breaking. They got a small room with a mattress and a humming fan. That night, Amaka lay by Ngozi, the city's hum in her ears, hoping they'd found peace. But it didn't last. Next morning, as Amaka chopped onions with Ifeoma, a loud knock hit the gate. Her knife slipped, cutting her finger. "Who's that?" she whispered, fear rising. Ifeoma peeked out, face tight. Segun, the mechanic, Chidi's friend. Amaka's blood froze. Segun wasn't just anyone, he fixed Chidi's bikes, drank with him. If he was here, Chidi was close. Ifeoma waved her back. Stay in. I'll deal with him. She went out, voice sharp. What do you want? We're busy. Amaka pressed to the wall, listening. Segun sounded smooth, too smooth. Just checking on Amaka. Chidi's is worried, you know. Ifeoma laughed. Rough. Worried? Tell him to worry about himself. She's not here. Segun stayed a moment, his shadow moving, then left slow. Ifeoma stormed in, locking up. He knows, she said, eyes fierce, or he guesses. We must watch out. Amaka's hands shook as she wrapped her finger. He won't stop, Ify, he'll come next. Ifeoma grabbed her shoulders. Let him try. This is my house, he'll face me. But Amaka wasn't sure. Chidi's anger was like a bushfire, wild and unstoppable. She'd seen it too many times. That night, sleep wouldn't come. The fan spun, but danger hung thick. Around midnight, a rumble woke her, an engine nearby. She crept to the window, peeking out. A motorbike sat at the street's edge, its rider in shadow. Her breath stopped. Was it him? The bike roared once, then sped off, leaving quiet. She sank back, heart pounding. He was near, she felt it. Morning brought more worry. Ifeoma's boys ran in, panting. Mama, a man's asking about Auntie Amaka at the junction. Ifeoma cursed, grabbing her phone. Amaka, come home, she barked. Amaka held Ngozi, mind spinning. Chidi was closing in, tightening the trap. How long before he broke through? She looked at Ifeoma, fear choking her. What do we do? Ifeoma's jaw locked. We fight, Amaka. Or we run again. You choose. The room spun as the choice hit hard, stay and face him, or run deeper into the dark. Outside, Lagos roared, blind to the storm creeping close. Night wrapped tight around Ifeoma's house in Surulere, heavy with fear and the smell of a coming storm. Amaka stood in the parlor, gripping a broom, eyes stuck on the locked door. Ngozi hid behind her, doll hugged close, breathing fast and small. Ifeoma paced, a frying pan in one hand, phone in the other, muttering angry words. Amaka had called the vigilantes, and they were coming, but every moment dragged like forever. Chidi was out there. Amaka felt him, a shadow sneaking nearer, his fury a beast ready to smash their little safety. The day had been full of whispers and dread. After Segun's visit and the boys' news of a man sniffing around, fear sank deep into Amaka. Ifeoma sent her sons away to a friend, and Amaka called for help, but Chidi's shadow grew bigger every hour. Now, with night falling, the house was locked tight, gates shut, windows barred, a table pushed against the door. But Amaka knew locks wouldn't stop him forever. He'd come for her and Ngozi, to pull them back to his misery. A loud thud came from the backyard, sharp like a stone hitting wood. Amaka's heart jumped. He's here, she whispered, clutching the broom. Ifeoma turned fast. Pan up. Stay back, she hissed, creeping to the kitchen. Ngozi whimpered, and Amaka pulled her close, mind racing. She heard the back door creak, then a growl, low, mad, familiar. The door shook, wood cracking, and Chidi burst in, a storm of anger in muddy boots and a ripped shirt. His wild eyes found Amaka. You think you can hide? He roared, shaking the house. Ifeoma rushed him, swinging her pan, but he grabbed it, yanked it free, and threw it hard. She stumbled, holding her wrist, and he charged, fists ready. My wife. My girl. You're mine. Amaka pushed Ngozi behind the sofa. No more, Chidi, she said, voice shaky but bold. We're free. He laughed, a mean, broken sound, and jumped at her. Amaka swung the broom, hitting his face. He yelled, wobbling, but grabbed her arm, twisting until she cried out. Ifeoma leaped on his back, scratching him, and they crashed into the table, toppling it. Run! Ifeoma shouted, clawing his neck. Amaka broke free, scooped Ngozi, and ran to the front door, shoving the table aside with trembling hands. She threw it open, night air rushing in just as headlights lit the street. Amaka's truck screeched up, vigilantes jumping out, 6 strong men with machetes and rods, faces hard as rock. His inside. Amaka yelled, pointing. They rushed in, torches flashing, a wave of fury. Chidi's shouts turned to grunts, then a scream as metal hit him. Amaka dropped to her knees, holding Ngozi, ears buzzing with the fight. Neighbors peeked out, lanterns glowing, as the vigilantes dragged Chidi out, arms pinned, face bloody. He glared at Amaka, spitting hate, but his strength was fading. Police came fast, lights flashing, sirens loud. Ifeoma limped out, wrapper messy, and pointed at Chidi. "Take him, he broke in, attacked us." The officers snapped handcuffs on him and shoved him in the van, still growling. Amaka stood, Ngozi at her leg, and looked him in the eye. "You're done," she said, voice firm. He spat, but the van door slammed, silencing him. Weeks flew by. Chidi faced court, assault, break-in, and years of pain spilled out for all to see. Amaka spoke up, voice wobbly then strong, telling the judge everything, the hits, the fear, the nights she thought she'd die. Ifeoma stood with her, words fierce, while neighbors whispered about the mechanic who hurt his own family. Chidi sat low, his boldness gone. The judge's hammer fell guilty. Locked in Kirikiri prison, no way out, waiting for his fate. He didn't look back as they took him. Freedom felt odd at first, sweet but scarred. Amaka stayed with Ifeoma, healing in her sister's warm, noisy home. She started braiding hair again, fingers quick and sure, turning the spare room into a little salon. Women came, loving her work and her tale, their voices filling the air with life. Ngozi played close, her laughter a gift, her schoolbooks growing as she blossomed. Amaka saved every coin, dreams sprouting like weeds in cracked ground. Months later, she stood before a small shop on Bode Thomas Street. Its sign shone, Amaka's beauty haven. Inside, mirrors sparkled, chairs waited, a fan hummed. She'd built it herself, her hands, her sweat, her soul. Opening day was wild, customers everywhere, music loud, Ngozi passing flyers with a big grin. Amaka braided and twisted, smiling, her apron stained with dye. By night, her cashbox overflowed, her heart even more. Chidi sat in Kirikiri, the damp walls closing tight. He heard of Amaka's shop, her rise, her freedom. In the dark, his hands empty, regret twisted him. He'd ruled with fists, thinking it made him strong, but it took everything, his family, his pride, his world. Inmates mocked him, a king fallen low, and he shrank, trapped by questions he'd never solve. Amaka soared, her shop grew, with 2 girls helping, her own hair products, a name buzzing past Surulere. She bought Ngozi a new doll, sent her to a better school, and laughed with Ifeoma over tea on calm nights. One evening, outside her shop, the sun sank gold over Lagos. Ngozi ran up, waving a drawing, a woman with a crown, standing tall. "That's you, Mama," she said. Amaka hugged her, tears shining. The fire had burned, but she'd walked out strong, whole, a queen of her own making.